Hey guys, just want to do a follow-up video on the art of war, laying plans. Premise of this video was just to understand how important understanding history and literature is on current events. So there's a lot of great books written by a lot of very smart people, passed down by generation to generation to us. And if we understand these books, we can actually change history and change the way the course of the world. In the case of Russia, they didn't really understand this the way to wage war, and so they're in this current situation in the Russia-Ukrainian war that has pretty much been catastrophe really for them. The Ukrainians, of course, haven't waged too much war, but it looks like they're getting really good advice because most of what they're following is based off of Sun Tzu's Art of War. And this book was written in 500 BC. This guy was a general, and everything he has is pretty much held true for the thousands of years since. So, without further ado, laying plans of the Art of War. Verse 16. While heeding the profit of my counsel, avail yourself also of any helpful circumstances over and beyond the ordinary rules. Verse 17, according as circumstances are favorable, one should modify one's plans. Now here's the caveat. Verse 18, all warfare is based on deception. So it might look like you're having a helpful circumstance, and it might look like things are favorable, but as we see in verses 19 through about 25, that's not necessarily true. Okay, so it says 19. Hence, when able to attack, we must seem unable. When we are using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When we are far away, we must make him believe we are near. Okay, so you think that the enemy's far away, you want to make some movements, you think there's something favorable that just happened. Verse 18, based on deception. So it's not like these things go in order. You have to think of it, these laying plans as a whole, and be able to adapt. Verse 20, hold out baits to entice the enemy, feign disorder, and crush him. And you see that a lot in when a military is not as, I guess, advanced as another military. So in the case of the American Revolution, we had superior fighting ability and we knew our terrain. However, you had the much larger force. So a little bit of feigning disorder, they come in, then we crush them. So it worked for America. 21. If he is secure at all points, be prepared for him. If he is in superior strength, evade him. There you go. Evade the enemy until a point in time when you're able to find a battle that you can crush him with. And that evasion might look like disorder. Okay, so all these are kind of coming into an image of what it is to lay plans. 22. If your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him. Pretend to be weak, that he may grow arrogant. Now, that basically is saying get inside the mind of your enemy. You need to know what he's going to do when you do something. So if this guy's a hothead and is going to do these rash decisions, keep making him angry, all right? Once he gets angry, he's going to even do more and more rash things that he wouldn't even normally do. So you can make him go off of his plan. Because once you get off of your war plan, it's over. 23. If he is taking his ease, give him no rest. If his forces are united, separate them. So they used to do that in World War I. So they'd people be sleeping, they'll just shoot off flares or just do some night bombardments just to kind of keep everybody always on edge and think that there's always somebody going to come after them. Spreading out the forces, you see the Russians trying to do that by deception. Verse 18 again, where they have the Belarusian border. They're trying to pretend that there's going to be an invasion up there. That's designed to spread out the Ukrainian forces at the top and bring them away from where they're actually going to attack. Verse 24, attack him where he is unprepared, appear where you're not expected. And you see the Ukrainians, they're doing that down in Crimea. There's a bunch of attacks on air bases, or that one bridge that they the railway they took out. So they're not, and even when they're doing a full frontal attack on some front lines, the speed at which they do that attack is unexpected. So the Russians don't expect the Ukrainians where they're at. They move so fast through the front lines. So this is a very good war tactic. You don't want the enemy to expect you there. Otherwise, you're going to get heavy losses. 25. These military devices leading to victory must not be divulged beforehand. So don't give away your plan. Anybody that's in on your plan is on a need-to-know basis, and I would even reckon to say most things people don't need to know. That's why we have this thing called special compartmentalized information. People don't need all the pieces to the puzzle, they just need to be able to do their job. So you don't want to give anybody your whole plan to victory. Okay? You can't trust people in business, let alone war, so you just have to be careful. And verse 26, now the general who wins a battle makes many calculations in his temple before the battle is fought. Okay? So they used to basically sit down, analyze everything, and think, okay, here's the strategy, here's the plan, this is what's going to happen, what if he does this? Kind of play that chess game in their mind, right? It was actually a temple back in the day, but I mean, just sitting in an office just to prepare yourself for what's going to happen and what you're going to react, because you want to be prepared. The general who loses the battle makes but few calculations beforehand. Thus do many calculations lead to victory, and few calculations to defeat. How much more no calculation at all? I mean, you could not just lose a battle, you can lose your entire country, right? It is by attention to this point that I can foresee who is likely to win or lose. Again, that was laying plans. Next step is going to be waging war. And you'll see there how the Russians are not very experienced in waging war, according to what's laid down in the Art of War. So understanding waging war is essential, and you see how the Ukrainians are doing a lot of those things correctly, and the things they are doing correctly are very beneficial to them, and I'll get that in the next video coming up here in a second, so stay tuned.